Here in Denver, Colorado, we're covering CPAC Colorado. Found our good friend Larry O'Connor, who's the editor of Breitbart TV. Larry, saw you in the debate spin room, and Meredith Dake, your camerawoman, producer, was walking around with an iPad, and you were broadcasting live. Tell me about the technology and how amazing it is now that you could do a show anywhere.
Yeah, I'd love to. Actually, first of all, Cameron, you have to forgive me because, I just arrived here in Denver, and the thin air, I'm a little winded. My performance is going to be a little... Al Gore coached me and let me know that this is a cool thing, and we love doing live streams. We're trying to increase as many live web streams as we can at Breitbart, but we've always been confined to a desktop. We've always had to just focus on getting guests to us and doing sort of a televised radio broadcast from a desk like we do here at various conferences. That was before we saw that an iPad, a third-party company came out with a mount for an iPad that has a wide-angle lens. It sort of balloons that regular little lens that you get, a camera lens on an iPad, and it's got a whole handle mount and an audio mount, and basically it becomes a video camera. But the difference is that it connects direct to either Wi-Fi in the room, or if you don't have Wi-Fi, no matter where you are, you can connect with Verizon or AT&T and get a broadband connection, and we can do a live stream show anywhere. And it was really valuable to us last night in the spin room at the debate, because we were able to give our audience a peek inside the spin room that only a cable news network would be able to give you with a satellite truck, and you know the drill. But of course, those are always edited and filtered through the lens of the cable network or the people behind the journalist's desk there, the anchor. We just turned the camera on and said, folks, take a look. This is what happens. This is what it looks like. And it's real, sort of grassroots journalism, citizen journalism that Andrew Breitbart really invented.
I'm glad you said the citizen journalism and grassroots journalism, because you look at the election 2012. It's the Twitter election. It's the Facebook election. Yeah. And for the first time ever, we have what's the hashtag? What's the official hashtag for the? I was sitting next to Twitter, and everyone was coming up to him. What's the official hashtag for the debates? Right. Politics has changed forever, and like you say, anyone could do a show now. You have a bigger platform, of course, there at Breitbart, but pretty much anyone could do what you do.
Oh yeah, and anybody can definitely do what I do because I'm just some guy, but it's true. And actually, we find a lot of content. Let me tell you something. The big story for Breitbart over the last 12 months was the Occupy movement. Obviously, we covered it. We've got a brand new film out called Occupy Unmasked. It was Andrew Breitbart's very last project. He was passionate about revealing what was really behind that very destructive movement. And I can tell you that the vast majority of video that we uncovered and showed to our audience to show them exactly what's going on with Occupy was actually from citizen journalists. Many of them that were part of the Occupy movement, they were showing off. They were proud of what they were doing. They put it out on Ustream or Livestream or on YouTube. We took it and showed it to a more mainstream audience and said, look at what these people are doing. And that we find that that's part of our content. We are imploring people, left, right, center, communists, socialists, libertarians, I don't care who you are, you get that content out there, and if it's good, if it's compelling, we're going to give it an audience at Breitbart.
So you talk about Occupy Unmasked. Talk about 2016, Obama's America, and an unbelievable story about the documentary has gone through the roof. I think it's second only to a Michael Moore documentary. Is that because Americans and people around the world are so passionate for this type of material, and is that a bellwether? What's to come in November?
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons why this film is doing so well. First of all, it's a beautifully made film. I remember seeing a trailer at CPAC in Washington D.C. this last February, and the first thing that hit me beyond the content was how beautifully made it is. We got to have good quality when you're making a film. But also a big part of what you're seeing in 2016 is information that was available to the mass media, mainstream media, all through the 2008 election. But they didn't bother to put it out. They didn't bother to actually tell the American people the background of the man that they were about to make the leader of the free world. All Dinesh D'Souza has done is taken Barack Obama's words from his own book and actually interviewed the people in his background and his life and put together a fantastic film. So I think a big reason that it's resonating is because it met a need. You heard Andrew's speech at CPAC back in February. He said, we are going to vet this president like he wasn't vetted in 2008. Andrew's sights didn't start until 2 weeks before the election, or before Inauguration Day. There was no Breitbart. There was no big government looking after politics. So this is all part of the vetting process, frankly. We appreciate Dinesh D'Souza giving us a hand on it. Our Occupy Unmasked film, and also I want to let your viewers and listeners know that next weekend, October 13th, I believe, is the launch date. A brand new documentary called Hating Breitbart is going to come out. Now, we're not involved in the production of the film, but independent filmmaker Andrew Marcus, he actually followed Andrew around. He followed Andrew around for like 23 months, all through the Acorn story, all through James O'Keefe turmoil, all through Shirley Sherrod, all through Anthony Weiner. if you want to see what it's like to be Andrew Breitbart and face the fury from the left that came after him, you've got to see this movie. It's really something.
I wanted to ask you about that because to this day, the vitriol against Andrew Breitbart is unbelievable. You talk about people talking about his death and maggots out of his eyes, the most disgusting things you can imagine. Why is it that his just name still inspires so much hatred from the other side?
Well, I don't want to give away the punchline to the movie, but that's really what Hating Breitbart is about. And we talked to journalists, or we shouldn't say we, Andrew, Mark. I feel like I'm part of the movie just because I was interviewed for it. Andrew interviewed a bunch of journalists. So why people on the right, people on the left? Why does he inspire so much hatred? And I think that the bottom line is, my take on it, a lot of people have different opinions. My take is because he revealed who the left really was and how they work, how the media works, how the media works with the politicians. He pulled the curtain back. He exposed it, and he wouldn't relent. He wouldn't let it go. He kept bringing it back to the media. Every story is a media story in American politics, and that made him a very dangerous man because it really, we're seeing it play out right now, frankly. Yesterday was the debate, and honestly, the reason that Barack Obama was revealed to be the lightweight politician that he really always has been is because he's never been challenged. Mitt Romney, finally, 4 years into his presidency, Mitt Romney is the first person to challenge the president on Obamacare, on taxation, on spending. No one in the media did it. He never sat for an interview with somebody who could actually competently challenge him, and you saw what happened.
Last question, you mentioned James O'Keefe. When James O'Keefe releases a video, it's always dirty tactics and it's disgusting. But when there's a secret tape of Mitt Romney, talking to fundraisers, oh wow, this is great. We got to get this out there. Why the double standard?
Oh, I think it answers itself. In fact, it's not even a double standard because you just talked about how the media presents it, right? O'Keefe, of course, media says he's a dirty dirtbag, underhanded tactics guy. Mother Jones, great. Forget about the media. Forget about Chris Matthews. Forget about MSNBC. That 47% speech that Mother Jones recorded, it was an undercover thing, that became part of an Obama television ad. They put it in their campaign ad. Right. Can you imagine if Mitt Romney used an Acorn video in a campaign ad? I would love it, but the double standard is obvious because when James O'Keefe does an undercover video, he exposes the true dirty, rotten nature and the obvious end result of all of the progressive programs that has been pushed down the American public's throat for the last 50 years. He exposes the underbelly of that, shows what really happens with organized unions that are paid for by your tax dollars, shows what happens in an Acorn and the teachers' unions, groups like that. And that's, again, it's very dangerous. James O'Keefe is a dangerous man, so he has to be slimed. Have you ever met him, by the way?
He's not a dangerous man.
You could break him in two like a twig. I'm not a tough guy, but I could take James O'Keefe. James, if you're watching, any day, man, I'd take you.
It's like WWE now. People want to find your stuff. People want to watch and learn more. Where do they go?
Breitbart.com. For crying out loud, Breitbart.com should be your homepage, and you should check it like 15 times a day. I'm not joking. No, seriously. Do you realize right now, since we merged, thank you for giving me the opportunity to say this. Since we merged big government, big journalism, big peace, big Hollywood, and Breitbart TV into one site, we are averaging about 90 individual pieces of information every single day on those sites between article posts and opinion polls and videos and all of the things that we bring to the table. You really do have to refresh and come back all the time, and not just to the homepage, but all through the site, so you can see you're missing a lot of content if you're not going to every single page.
No, and you're not joking because I follow, when you follow the Twitter feeds, there's a few names now that it's a must follow, and all the Breitbart sites, especially for people on this side of the aisle, it's a must follow.
Actually, funny you should say that. Coming up later this week and early next week, we're actually going to be adding a new element to the Breitbart. I don't think this has been announced yet. Oh, wow. Stay tuned to Breitbart.com because we're actually adding a new element that will allow all citizen journalists, anyone who is a news junkie or political junkie, to be able to follow the news kind of like on Twitter, but in a very comprehensive way all through our portal. You'll see. It's going to be very cool.
Is it called Big Larry O'Connor?
I think that goes without saying.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Cam.